Look closely at an ordinary pigeon, and you are looking at the surviving branch of the dinosaur family tree. Outside your window, dinosaur anatomy is still moving, balancing, breathing, nesting, and taking flight. Modern birds are not merely descended from dinosaurs. Scientifically, they belong inside Dinosauria. That conclusion emerged from thousands of fossils, anatomical comparisons, and discoveries that once seemed impossible. Other impressions changed the debate because they preserved structures previously associated almost entirely with birds. Long before powered flight, feathers already covered many dinosaurs for functions unrelated to aviation. Insulation offers one likely early advantage, especially for small active animals losing heat rapidly. Visual display, species recognition, camouflage, and courtship may also have shaped feather evolution. Brooding provides another clue. Some non-avian dinosaurs sheltered eggs using postures strikingly similar to birds. The real story is not a sudden transformation. It is a long sequence of anatomical experiments spanning millions of years. Begin with theropods, mostly two-legged dinosaurs whose skeletons already contained several features later inherited by birds. 3 forward-pointing toes connected modern birds to a much older pattern of dinosaur locomotion. Shared proportions become clearer when the skeletons are placed side-side, rather than judged by appearance alone. Bipedal balance established a body plan that later changed as tails shortened and flight shifted the center of mass. Across avian evolution, long bony tails gradually yielded to shorter structures supporting movable tail feathers.
A compact tail improved aerodynamic control while reducing weight far behind the hips.
A bird wing is a modified dinosaur arm, not a completely new structure added later. A specialized wrist allowed feathered forelimbs to fold against the body, a motion retained by birds. The wishbone also predates true birds, appearing within theropod dinosaurs as part of the shoulder apparatus. Each inherited component became useful within a larger system, but no single bone created flight by itself. Early dinosaur feathers ranged from simple filaments to complex veined structures with very different functions. Complex flight feathers can be understood as modifications of simpler structures rather than an abrupt invention. Asymmetrical veins improved aerodynamic performance by controlling airflow more effectively along the feather. Forelimb feathers may first have assisted balance, braking, display, or controlled descent. One hypothesis proposes that flapping helped small dinosaurs gain traction while running up steep surfaces. Another pathway emphasizes controlled gliding from elevated positions before sustained powered flight evolved. Microraptor carried large flight feathers on all 4 limbs, revealing an aerodynamic experiment unlike modern birds. Its exact posture remains debated, yet the fossil proves that flight evolution explored more than one configuration. Evolution produced a branching landscape of experiments, not a simple march from ground dinosaur to modern bird. Long-term miniaturization within birdline theropods may have unlocked faster development, agility, and new ecological options. Smaller bodies altered balance, muscle demands, heat loss, reproduction, and the physics of moving through air.
Moving the center of mass toward the wings improved control during increasingly aerial locomotion.
Shoulder anatomy gradually allowed a larger stroke, an essential step toward effective flapping.
Expanded chest musculature later supplied the power needed for repeated wing beats.
Powered flight required coordinated motion, muscle force, feather control, and a skeleton capable of handling repeated loads. Bird-style breathing evolved from a theropod respiratory system built for efficient one-way airflow. Pneumatized bones' reduced mass supports preserved strength under mechanical stress. Weight reduction worked only because reinforcement and fusion stabilized the body where flight demanded it. Reproduction also linked birds with dinosaurs through hard-shelled eggs, nest building, and prolonged parental care. Exceptionally preserved deposits in China revealed entire feathered ecosystems once missing from the fossil record. Archaeopteryx became iconic because one fossil combined unmistakable feathers with many dinosaurian skeletal traits. Its wings carried advanced flight feathers, although flight performance probably differed from that of most living birds. Clawed fingers, teeth, and a long bony tail preserved the dinosaurian side of the anatomical mosaic. No sharp boundary separated dinosaur from bird. Transitional animals combine traits in unexpected packages. Classification depends on evolutionary relationships, not on whether a fossil looks halfway between two stereotypes. Archaeopteryx is important, but it was not necessarily the single direct ancestor of every later bird. Early bird evolution quickly produced numerous combinations of flight ability, feeding style, and skeletal design. Beaks and tooth reduction evolved repeatedly, changing weight, feeding mechanics, and dietary flexibility. Cretaceous birds occupied many feeding niches, rather than sharing one universal diet. By the late Cretaceous, avian dinosaurs had diversified across forests, coasts, lakes, and terrestrial environments. One major group, the enantiornithines, became widespread and successful throughout the Cretaceous. Different feet reveal how strongly early birds had already specialized for distinct ways of life. Specialization brings advantages during stable conditions, yet it can become dangerous when an entire habitat disappears. That vulnerability would matter enormously when the asteroid transformed global ecosystems. 66 million years ago, a large asteroid struck near the Yucatan Peninsula. The collision triggered immediate destruction, but the longer ecological crisis determined which lineages endured. Dust, soot, and aerosols reduced sunlight, cooling the planet and suppressing photosynthesis. Once primary production fell, food chains weakened from the bottom upward. Stored seeds could outlast living foliage, creating a temporary resource unavailable to many large herbivores. Seed eating may have helped some toothless, ground-associated avian lineages survive the darkest interval. Survival was selective. Most bird lineages also disappeared, while only a small avian branch crossed the boundary. The extinction boundary pruned the avian tree severely, rather than sparing birds as a whole. Small size reduced absolute food needs and may have supported faster population recovery. Shorter generations could help populations rebound once conditions began improving. Ground-oriented habits may have mattered because global forests were devastated after the impact. With tree cover gone, lineages dependent on perching and canopy resources faced extreme pressure. Recovery began with hardy plants and simplified ecosystems, rather than an immediate return to Cretaceous forests. Flexible diets offered options when familiar food webs collapsed and seasonal resources became unpredictable. Generalists can reroute their diets. Specialists fail when a single required resource disappears. Freshwater and shoreline habitats may have buffered some survivors from fire, forest loss, and abrupt food shortages. No single trait explains survival. A favorable combination probably mattered more than any one feature. Researchers infer survival strategies from fossils, living birds, plant recovery, and the ecology of the extinction boundary. The earliest post-impact bird fossil record remains incomplete, so every explanation carries uncertainty. Geology records the planetary crisis more continuously than bird skeletons record individual survivors. All retimathemis sedition, distentlet commention dissensions, a gradual recovery. Avian survival may have passed through extremely small populations, vulnerable to chance and local conditions. Once ecosystems reopened, surviving birds expanded into niches left vacant by extinct competitors. Beaks diversified rapidly as birds exploited new foods, habitats, and behaviors. Feet changed alongside beaks, revealing ecological expansion across land, water, and recovering forests. From a narrow bottleneck emerged the extraordinary global radiation of modern birds. Modern birds still carry the evidence of their dinosaur ancestry in almost every part of the body. Scaled feet and three-toed anatomy make the connection visible even without feathers. Beaks, claws, scales, and feathers are specialized structures produced by inherited developmental systems. Embryology exposes deep similarities that adult appearance can hide. Brooding posture, nest arrangement, and parental care connect living birds with fossil dinosaurs. Behaviorally, the highly efficient avian respiratory system also has roots within theropod dinosaurs. Air-filled bones appeared before modern birds and supported an active respiratory design. Wishbones trace a structural continuity extending deep into the theropod lineage. Every wing beat activates a modified dinosaur forelimb assembled through gradual evolutionary change. Today's birds look radically different because one dinosaur branch diversified into more than 10,000 living species. Several popular shortcuts distort the story. Evolution was not linear, feathers were not invented for flight, and most birds did not survive. A branching tree better represents experimentation, extinction, and repeated anatomical innovation. Reconstructions combine evidence and inference, so plumage patterns and behavior often remain less certain than bones. Microscopic pigment structures sometimes preserve clues to color, but such evidence exists only for certain specimens. Living birds can illuminate possibilities, yet they are not perfect replicas of extinct dinosaurs. Good paleontology distinguishes fossil facts from likely interpretations and imaginative possibilities. The dinosaur-bird connection rests on converging evidence from many independent anatomical systems. No single feature carries the argument. Together, the pattern becomes overwhelming. Birds survived because one dinosaur branch reached the boundary with a useful combination of traits. The familiar bird on a sidewalk is not the opposite of a dinosaur. It is the result of dinosaur evolution. Across deep time, small anatomical changes accumulated into bodies capable of flight, survival, and feathers provided versatile structures. Miniaturization changed physics. Coordinated anatomy enabled flight. The asteroid did not create birds, but it determined which avian lineages inherited the post-dinosaur world. From limited survivors came an ecological expansion unmatched by any other living dinosaur group. Birds eventually occupied nearly every environment on the planet, including places no Mesozoic theropod ever experienced. Even flightless birds retain wings because evolution modifies inherited structures rather than starting from nothing. Ostriches demonstrate that living dinosaurs can abandon flight while preserving a deeply theropod body plan. Hummingbirds occupy the opposite extreme, pushing the inherited wing system toward remarkable maneuverability. One ancestral framework now supports behaviors ranging from deep diving to hovering flight. A feather can now stand for the entire story: inheritance, experimentation, catastrophe, and survival. The case does not depend on resemblance alone. It emerges from fossils, anatomy, development, behavior, and evolution. Birds survived the asteroid because they were already a diverse dinosaur lineage, not because evolution began afterward. Survival preserved only a fraction of avian diversity and erased every non-avian dinosaur branch. From that narrow escape came every living eagle, sparrow, penguin, owl, chicken, and pigeon. The age of dinosaurs never ended completely. One branch transformed the world above the ruins. Seen through evolution, a city bird becomes a deep-time survivor carrying millions of years of anatomical history. Fossils do not describe a dead world separated from ours. They reveal the ancestry of life still present. Dinosaur, survivor, and bird are not separate chapters. They are connected points along one evolutionary lineage. Once that connection becomes visible, ordinary birds never look ordinary again. The dinosaurs are still here, not as monsters from the past, but as birds living all around us. The room is new. The conversation is new. Yet for one impossible second, your brain insists this has happened before. That certainty arrives before evidence. You feel recognition, even while knowing you have never entered this place. Deja vu can feel physical. A pause, a chill, a tightening attention, as if reality briefly slipped out of sequence. You search for the original memory. A dream, a photograph, another room, but the source refuses to appear. Then the feeling collapses. The room becomes ordinary again, leaving only the question of why it felt so certain. The name comes from French, déjà vu, meaning already seen. But the experience is larger than vision alone. People described strangely familiar moments long before neuroscience gave them a modern name. Different cultures have linked the feeling to dreams, spirits, fate, past lives, or moments repeating across time. Science does not require a hidden timeline. It begins with something more ordinary and more mysterious: memory making an error. The central puzzle is simple. How can the brain produce recognition without retrieving anything documentary that was actually remembered? Memory is not one system. A moment can feel familiar, even when you cannot recall where, when, or why. Familiarity is fast and vague. It tells you something has been encountered, without reconstructing the encounter itself. You know the face, but not the name. You recognize the street, but cannot remember the visit. Recollection is slower and richer. It rebuilds details, the person, the place, the sequence, and the surrounding story.
In ordinary déjà vu, familiarity surges, while recollection fails to identify a legitimate source.
At the same time, another part of the system knows the present is new. That is what makes the feeling uncanny. Déjà vu is not a full memory replay. Usually there is no precise earlier event you can inspect. It is also different from simply remembering incorrectly. The person often recognizes that the familiarity itself is inappropriate. That awareness may be the key. The eerie sensation could emerge when memory catches its own contradiction. Instead of proving memory is failing completely, déjà vu may reveal that its quality control system is still working. Researchers often look to the medial temporal lobe, a memory network buried deep behind the temples. Structures near the hippocampus help judge familiarity, context, and relationships between parts of an experience. There is probably no single déjà vu switch. The experience may emerge from several memory and monitoring systems interacting. In clinical settings, electrical stimulation of temporal regions has sometimes evoked déjà vu-like experiences. But provoking a feeling does not prove. Every everyday episode begins in exactly the same place. One old idea proposes a tiny processing delay. The same event reaches awareness twice, documentary, making the second arrival feel remembered. Another possibility is a false positive in recognition. The brain's familiarity detector briefly fires for a genuinely new event. Novelty matters because déjà vu contains two judgments at once. This feels known, and this should be new. Recent accounts emphasize that conflict itself, the disagreement between familiarity and novelty, may generate the distinctive feeling. Even this is not a final answer. Déjà vu is probably a family of experiences, with more than one root. One of the strongest experimental clues comes from places that are new in detail, but familiar in structure. A hotel lobby can resemble a childhood school. A new alley can echo the geometry of a street seen years ago. The resemblance may remain below conscious recall. You detect the pattern, but cannot identify the earlier scene. Researchers test this idea with virtual environments, where room layouts can be controlled while surface details change. Participants first explore several scenes without knowing which spatial patterns will return later. Later, they enter new-looking scenes. Sometimes the arrangement secretly matches a scene they can no longer recall. Reports of déjà vu become more likely when the new scene maps onto an unrecalled earlier layout. The trigger does not need an exact copy. A partial structural echo may be enough to create familiarity without identification. That helps explain why déjà vu often feels connected to a place, even when no remembered place comes to mind. Spatial similarity explains some laboratory episodes. It cannot yet explain every spontaneous moment in ordinary life. Déjà vu often carries another illusion, the feeling that you know what will happen in the next few seconds. Experiments can test that confidence by asking people to predict the next turn while they are experiencing déjà vu. The feeling becomes stronger, but prediction accuracy does not reliably improve beyond chance. Your brain may confuse familiarity with foresight. If the moment feels repeated, its ending seems as though it should already be known. After the event, hindsight can make a vague impression feel more precise than it originally was. Memory is reconstructive. It does not replay the past. It rebuilds a useful story from fragments. Déjà vu also increases curiosity. The mind wants to identify the missing source and resolve the contradiction. That search can create false connections, because the brain is exceptionally good at finding patterns, even incomplete ones. This is why past lives, parallel worlds, and precognition can feel persuasive. The experience arrives with certainty before explanation. Science can respect the intensity of the feeling without treating the feeling itself as proof of a hidden reality. Another proposal begins with attention. Perhaps part of a scene is registered briefly before conscious awareness catches up. A fraction of unnoticed perception could make the full experience feel older than it really is. Documentary remembered. Laboratory studies show that previous exposure can influence familiarity, even when the original encounter is not consciously remembered. Repeated exposure can make something feel safer or more familiar. But déjà vu includes the extra awareness that familiarity is wrong. An attention lapse might therefore contribute in some cases, without explaining episodes triggered by complex places or thoughts. Many explanations survive because déjà vu is brief, unpredictable, and difficult to capture at the exact moment it occurs. Dreams offer another tempting source. A new scene may resemble a dream whose details were mostly forgotten. But remembering a dream after the event is vulnerable to reconstruction. The present can reshape what you think the dream contained. Déjà rêvé is the specific feeling that the present was previously dreamed. It is related, but not identical, to déjà vu. These overlapping experiences suggest that one label may hide several different memory events. Ordinary déjà vu is widely reported by healthy people. A brief episode by itself is usually not evidence of disease. People describe it during conversations, travel, reading, music, and completely routine moments at home. Some studies find that people who travel more also report more déjà vu, though correlation does not establish the cause. Novel environments may offer more chances for partial resemblance, new details arranged in patterns your memory has seen before. Fatigue, stress, and distraction are often blamed, but their exact role in ordinary déjà vu remains less settled than popular claims suggest. Most ordinary episodes are fleeting. The intensity can be striking even when the experience lasts only seconds. Some people encounter it rarely, others notice it repeatedly. Frequency alone still needs context.
A short, familiar feeling with full awareness is different from an episode that includes confusion, fear, strange smells, or lost time.
When episodes become frequent, prolonged, distressing, or arrive with neurological symptoms, professional evaluation becomes reasonable. The medical connection matters because déjà vu can also occur as part of focal seizures, especially involving temporal memory networks. Neurologists have associated déjà vu-like auras with temporal lobe seizures for more than a century. A seizure-related episode may feel more intense, emotionally charged, dreamlike, or unusually specific than common déjà vu. Yet people cannot always distinguish seizure and non-seizure déjà vu from the feeling alone. Doctors therefore ask about awareness, duration, fear, bodily sensations, smells, sounds, and what happens immediately afterward. Some focal seizures include a rising sensation in the abdomen, sudden fear, unusual odors, or impaired awareness. Electrical stimulation has reproduced déjà vu-like feelings in some patients, linking the experience to specific brain networks. This does not make ordinary déjà vu a miniature seizure. Healthy and clinical experiences can overlap without being identical. Another clinical phenomenon, déjà vécu, can involve persistent conviction that entire events are being relived. Persistent experiences may appear in some neurological or psychiatric conditions and deserve a different explanation and response. The same words can describe very different events. Duration, insight, symptoms, and context determine what the experience means. Jamais vu his contralicistans alla de strangen de transitions, to nefien Kate teen proti de sanctions. Key. Repeating a common word many times can temporarily make its spelling and sound feel unreal. Laboratory repetition can produce jamais vu-like unfamiliarity, revealing that familiarity is actively maintained, not permanently attached. Jamais vu is not simply the exact opposite of déjà vu, but both expose how unstable the feeling of knowing can be. Related experiences can involve sounds, voices, movements, or entire situations, not only things literally seen. Déjà entendu describes something heard as if heard before, while déjà rêvé points specifically toward a remembered dream. Because dreams are fragmented, they can supply countless shapes and emotions that later appear to match real life. Once a match is noticed, the dream may be remembered as more accurate than it originally was. Déjà vu belongs to meta-memory, feelings about memory, rather than the recovered content of memory itself. The brain constantly estimates whether information is known, even when it cannot explain the basis of that estimate. A tip-of-the-tongue state is another example. You know that you know, while the missing word remains inaccessible. These feelings are useful shortcuts. Most of the time, they guide memory efficiently without demanding a complete search. Metacognition adds another layer. The mind evaluates its own confidence, errors, and uncertainty. That self-monitoring may explain why déjà vu feels wrong. At the same time, it feels certain. Scientists can induce déjà vu-like states, but laboratory versions may capture only part of the natural experience. Researchers must often rely on self-report. The participant decides whether the strange feeling truly occurred. Brain imaging is difficult because the episode is brief, unpredictable, and altered by the attempt to observe it. So Prasad Seemly can time resolutionations, the Noexisacantissina generalization, timed limited generalization to the individual differences add more noise. The same prompt may trigger wonder in one person and nothing in another. The best explanation may combine several layers: hidden similarity, familiarity errors, novelty monitoring, attention, and personal context. Déjà vu is memorable precisely because it interrupts ordinary certainty. The contradiction forces attention onto a moment that would otherwise disappear. Surprise and emotion can strengthen the later memory of the episode, even when its original cause remains documentary unknown. Each retelling can simplify the uncertainty. A vague feeling becomes a perfect replay, a coincidence, or a prediction that came true. Online, the strangest stories travel farther than ordinary episodes that lasted 2 seconds and meant nothing. Repetition then makes an explanation familiar. A popular story can feel true simply because you have encountered it many times. There is no scientific evidence that ordinary déjà vu proves past lives, parallel universes, or a timeline line repeating. Modern physics describes strange possibilities, but it does not predict that a brief personal familiarity error reveals another universe. The brain itself is a prediction machine, constantly using past patterns to anticipate what the present should look like. Some researchers suspect interrupted prediction may contribute to déjà vu, but this account is still developing. A compressed pattern from the past may fit the present just well enough to feel familiar, but not well enough to be recalled. Memory was not designed as a perfect archive. It evolved to recognize, predict, and guide action quickly. Déjà vu may be one visible cost of that efficiency, a rare moment when generalization produces the wrong familiarity signal. Yet the mistake is noticed. The brain does not simply accept the new moment as a genuine memory. That may be the least frightening interpretation. The strange feeling could be evidence that your memory system caught its own error. When déjà vu happens, there is usually nothing to solve. The source may never become consciously available. If episodes are frequent, prolonged, or accompanied by altered awareness or unusual sensations, recording the context can help a clinician. A fleeting episode with full awareness is common. A pattern involving lost time, seizures, or persistent distress deserves attention. Science has narrowed the mystery, but it has not reduced every episode to one circuit, trigger, or theory. The most likely answer is not that time repeated. It is that memory, novelty, and awareness briefly disagreed.
Déjà vu feels like a door into another timeline. It may actually be a glimpse of the brain checking the boundary between now and memory.